The emptiness of emptinesses plays that role. Thus, when one swallows a remedy, the remedy suppresses the illness, but once the illness has been destroyed, the remedy in turn must be rejected. If the remedy were not rejected, there would be sickness again. In the same way, when one has destroyed the sicknesses of the passions by means of the emptinesses, it is to be feared lest these emptinesses themselves present drawbacks in turn. This is why recourse is made to another emptiness to destroy the previous ones. It is called emptiness of emptinesses 3. Finally, as this last emptiness destroys the other 17 emptinesses, it is called emptiness of emptinesses. Mahasanyata. 4th section. Emptiness 5. Great emptiness or emptiness of the 10 directions. I. Great emptiness in the 2 vehicles. This is about the great emptiness. 1. In the Sravaka system, it is the emptiness of dharmas that is the great emptiness. Mahasanyata Sutra. Thus it is said in the Tarkong King of the Tsa Ahan. It is said that old age and death has birth as condition. In this regard, if somebody said, "This is old age and death," or "Old age and death belong to this man," the 2 statements together would be wrong views. Actually, the man to whom old age and death belongs is empty of being, and old age and death is empty of dharma. 2. On the other hand, the Mahayana Sutras say that the 10 directions are empty of characteristics of the 10 directions, and that is the great emptiness. 2. Size of the directions. Question. Why is the emptiness of the 10 directions called great emptiness? Answer. The directions, the east, etc., being limitless, are called great. They are called great because they are omnipresent, because they include all forms, because they exist eternally, because they benefit people, and because they prevent people from becoming disoriented. This is why the emptiness that can destroy these 10 directions is called great emptiness. The other emptinesses that destroy the dharmas coming from causes and conditions, conditioned dharmas, coarse dharmas that are easy to destroy, are not called great. By contrast, the directions are not dharmas coming from causes and conditions or conditioned dharmas. They are subtle dharmas and difficult to destroy. This is why the emptiness that destroys them is called great emptiness. I2. The directions exist only in relative truth. Question. However, in the Buddhist system, there is no question of the directions. They are not included among the 3 unconditioned, namely, space, cessation due to knowledge, and the cessation not due to knowledge. Then why do you claim that there are directions that you define as eternal entities, unconditioned dharmas, dharmas not coming from causes and conditions, dharmas without formation, subtle dharmas? Answer. It is true that in the treatises of the Sravakas the directions do not occur, but according to the Mahayana system, they exist in relative truth. From the absolute point of view, all dharmas are non-existent, and the directions in particular. Just as the complex of the 5 aggregates is metaphorically called being, in the same way the complex of forms derived from the 4 great elements, where such and such localization is distinguished, is called direction metaphorically. The place where the sun rises is the eastern direction. The place where the sun sets is the western direction. Those are the directions. These directions spontaneously exist eternally. Therefore they do not come from causes and conditions. Neither is it about actual existences preceded by an earlier non-existence, nor of later non-existences preceded by an present existence. They are not formations, and they are not known by direct perception. Therefore they are subtle dharmas. Question. If the directions are truly real, how can they be destroyed? Answer. Did you not understand what I just said? These directions exist in relative truth. From the absolute point of view, they are fundamentally destroyed. By saying that they exist in relative truth, I do not fall into the wrong view of nihilism. By saying that from the absolute viewpoint, they are destroyed, I do not fall into the wrong view of eternalism. In summary, that is what great emptiness means. Question. But emptiness of the Absolute also destroys the unconditioned dharmas, the dharmas not coming from causes and conditions, the subtle dharmas. Why then is it not called great? Answer. Since the adjective great is being applied here to great emptiness, the emptiness of the Absolute will not be qualified as great. But even though absolute emptiness is qualified differently, it really is great. The supramundane in its quality of nirvana is great. And the universe, in its quality of directions, is great. This is why the emptiness of the Absolute, it too, is great. IV. Wrong views destroyed by great emptiness. Finally, because it destroys the major wrong views, the emptiness of the directions is called great. Let us suppose that a yogin wants to make his loving-kindness spread to the beings of a certain kingdom of the eastern direction, then to the beings of another kingdom of the east, and so on. If he says, "My loving-kindness applies completely to all the kingdoms of the east," he falls into the wrong view of a finite world. And if he says, "My loving-kindness does not completely apply to all these kingdoms," he falls into the wrong view of an infinite world. By thus producing these two wrong views, he loses his mind of loving-kindness. If the yogin uses the emptiness of the directions to destroy this direction of the east, he destroys the wrong views of a finite world and an infinite world. If he does not use the emptiness of the directions to destroy the direction of the east, he prolongs in himself the thought of the eastern direction, and this prolongation being endless, his mind of loving-kindness vanishes and wrong thoughts arise. Thus, when the great sea has reached its usual limits at the time of the tide, the water recedes and the fish that do not withdraw with it are left wriggling on the shore, suffering horrible torments. If the fish are wise, they withdraw with the water and find definitive safety. In the same way, the yogin who does not withdraw following the mind of loving-kindness is left wriggling in wrong views, but if he withdraws following the mind, he does not lose the mind of loving-kindness. Therefore, because it destroys the major wrong views, the emptiness of the directions is called great emptiness. Paramartha Sunyata. 5th section. Emptiness 6. Emptiness of the Absolute or of Nirvana. I. Definition and synonyms of the Absolute. 1. The Absolute is the true nature of dharmas because it is indestructible and inalterable. This true nature of dharmas itself is empty. Why? Because there is no grasping or attachment in regard to it. If the true nature of dharmas existed, one would be able to take it and become attached to it, but as it does not really exist, one does not take it and one does not become attached to it. If one does take it and becomes attached to it, that is a mistake. 2. Furthermore, the Dharma supreme among all dharmas is called nirvana.